Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is William Heineman, and I'm coming to you from Just Force 911, where we look at the way our public officials do their job, or not. I guess that's becoming my new slogan. Incredible. Hey, in Michigan, a police officer, or actually a state trooper, actually is being held for his actions. Kind of. He was given a $250,000 bond because he's a police officer for murder. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon. I appreciate you guys subscribing. You're really helping me out. Let's get into this, shall we? Here we go.
They're calling what they saw murder. And Johnson said he would be remiss if he didn't compare this case to George Floyd, another black man crying out for help before dying.
He's behind your back! He's behind your back!
They put my baby down, even after they hit him with a car.
Michigan State Trooper Brian Keeley has been arrested. The charge, murder.
His whole knee was on my baby, and he was just laying there in pain, asking for help.
At this time, the court is going to call People of the State of Michigan versus Brian William Keeley.
Keeley has been charged with 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of involuntary manslaughter.
We have found that Detective Sergeant Keeley's actions that day were legally, grossly negligent and created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, which could have otherwise been prevented.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Peeps, and today I have a follow-up video with major updates. Michigan State Trooper Brian Keeley has been arrested. The charge, murder. On May 28th, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel announced the charges against Keeley in a video, saying Detective Sergeant Keeley's actions that day were legally, grossly negligent and created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, which could have otherwise been prevented.
I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Shortly before noon on April 17th, 2024, Michigan State Police Detective Sergeant Brian Keeley, as part of the MSP Fugitive Task Force, attempted to bring Samuel Sterling into custody when Mr. Sterling fled by foot. A number of MSP troopers and other local law enforcement agents proceeded to chase Mr. Sterling, both in their vehicles and by foot, when the vehicle Detective Sergeant Keeley was driving turned and struck Mr. Sterling in a nearby fast food restaurant parking lot. Mr. Sterling was transported to the University of Michigan Metro Health Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries later that day. My office has reviewed multiple police reports from other officers on the scene, read the accident reconstruction report and autopsy, as well as watched body cam footage and surveillance videos from neighboring businesses prior to completing our investigation. We have found that Detective Sergeant Keeley's actions that day were legally, grossly negligent and created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, which could have otherwise been prevented. As a result, today we filed the following charges against Brian Keeley in the Kentwood 62B District Court. 1 count of murder in the second degree, a life offense, or alternatively, 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, a 15-year felony. It's important to note that a criminal charge is merely an allegation and that the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
The Attorney General's stern words echoed the gravity of the situation, making it clear that the law would not turn a blind eye to such serious misconduct.
All rise. 62 years report is now in session. The Honorable United States Justice present.
Thank you. You may be seated. this time, the court is going to call People of the State of Michigan versus Brian William Keeley, case 24-60116FY. I understand Mr. Keeley is in custody.
Mr. Keeley's here with me.
Oh, he has been brought in already. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Mark Curtis, honored to be here on behalf of Detective Sergeant Keeley.
And you are Mr. Keeley.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Mr. Curtis. Welcome, Mr. Keeley. You may be seated. Mr. Keeley, in this matter, the people are alleging that on or around April 17th of 2024, in the city of Kentwood, county of Kent, state of Michigan, you committed the following offenses. Count 1, homicide, murder, second degree, upon one, Samuel DeJohn Cornelius Sterling, said act committed without premeditation or deliberation, contrary to MCL 750.317. That is a felony. It is punishable by life or any term of years. A consecutive sentence may be imposed for each death that resulted from operating a vehicle, and your DNA is taken upon arrest. They also allege count 2, homicide, manslaughter, involuntary, in that you did cause the death of Samuel DeJohn Cornelius Sterling by committing the following act or acts in a grossly negligent manner, to wit, the apprehension of Samuel DeJohn Cornelius Sterling, contrary to MCL 750.321. That is a felony. It is punishable by up to 15 years in the Department of Corrections and a fine of up to $7,500 with your DNA taken upon arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed for each death that resulted from operating the vehicle. In these counts, felony in which a motor vehicle was used means a felony during the commission of which the individual convicted operated a motor vehicle and while operating the vehicle presented a real or potential harm to individuals or property. Do you understand those charges?
Thank you.
And do you feel as though you have had ample time to discuss your rights with Attorney Curtis?
I do.
Do you understand your rights?
I do.
Attorney Curtis, how is your client pleading at this time?
Not guilty to both charges, Your Honor.
The court will enter not guilty pleas in each of these counts, and we will schedule a probable cause conference and a preliminary examination. The purpose of those hearings is for the people to prove that there is probable cause to believe the felony offenses were committed and that you are the individual who committed them. Attorney Curtis, would you like to make argument for bond?
In regards to bond, Your Honor, Mr. Detective Sergeant Keeley turned himself in and has been cooperating with the investigation and also has been in contact with me almost on a daily basis. I have no concern that he is a flight risk. He is not. He's going to stand before the court and confront the charges. We're not concerned about him leaving the area. We're not concerned about him being a danger to the public, as in the fact that he was in the lawful performance of his duties at the time as a task force member. He isn't currently working as a trooper or Michigan State Police at this point, so there isn't any concern of him being in danger further to the public as to the operation of his duties. I would ask the court to consider all the facts and the fact that this is the first time one of the first times that he's been in legal trouble. He has an exemplary career as a trooper with the Michigan State Police. I'd ask the court to consider at least imposing a PR bond. And if the court is not considering a PR bond, to at least do a 10% extra surety bond to allow him to be able to cooperate with me in his defense. I think that him being incarcerated would limit our ability to prepare for preliminary examination in this matter.
And how long has he been on the force?
He was a trooper for 25 years.
He resides in Grand Rapids.
He resides in Ottawa County. We're going to correct that with the court once we run on this morning.
I do have Grand Rapids address on
Yes.
file. And so the things that the court considers are risk to public safety, willingness to appear and stand trial, prior criminal record, and as it is Detective Sergeant Healy turned himself in willingly, does appear willing to appear and stand trial in this matter, has little to no criminal record, and certainly nothing that leads me to believe that there is a risk to public safety that is representative of the conduct alleged in this matter. I do agree that a personal recognizance bond is appropriate. I am going to set a $250,000 personal recognizance bond in this matter with standard bond conditions. I understand he is suspended from his duties at this time.
A little bit of limbo as to where he has filed for his retirement. The Michigan State Police have released to the media that he has retired from the department, but he was suspended without pay up until the Michigan State Police made that announcement to the media.
Keeley has been charged with 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. Keeley, a 50-year-old detective sergeant, officially retired on Tuesday, according to Michigan State Police. It appears that the retirement decision was likely made to secure Keeley's retirement pension. The judge gave Keeley a $250,000 personal recognizance bond. Unfortunately, the low bond did not sit well with Sterling's family or their attorney.
Seeing what happened today in this courtroom was a travesty. The judge considered his police record, his work ethic, the fact that he lives in Ottawa County, even though his address was Grand Rapids, but she never took the gravity of the crime. He's been charged with second-degree murder, and he was patted on the wrist out of here on a personal recognizance bond. Is a message to law enforcement that our lives don't matter.
Keeley pleaded not guilty to both charges. His supporters think the charges are unfair.
I just think it's too easy to blame the police officer for doing his job. I say in this whole deal, when I first heard it, this should be a dismissed case.
For this trooper to face such charges, I think is just so heartbreaking for me.
Attorney Curtis, would you like to make argument for bond?
I miss my son a whole lot. That was my baby, so I miss him a whole lot. You can't bring him back. No matter how much we go through court, you can't ever bring Samuel back.
The judge decided to give Keeley a $250,000 personal recognizance bond, which means he won't have to put up any money to get out of police custody. Sterling supporters say the low bond sends the wrong message.
Disappointed. Very disappointed. I'm surprised. I'm just lost for words.
It's just the first step to get justice for my son.
This announcement sent ripples through the community, amplifying the public outcry for justice and accountability. As the investigation continues, many are left to ponder the broader implications of this case, not just for Keeley, but for the integrity of law enforcement as a whole. The case remains a pivotal moment in the pursuit of justice. Keeley is due back in court later this month.
Keeley's next court hearing is a probable cause conference on June 17th. Supporters for Samuel Sterling say they will hold a rally and march on the front steps of the state capitol Friday at noon.
Stay tuned as I will be updating this story as more information becomes available. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment to keep the conversation going, and smash that like and subscribe button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm push these videos out for others to enjoy and helps grow the channel. See you on the next one. Peeps out.
Okay, guys. So, go over and subscribe to Always Film the Popo. He has some really good videos. Check him out. Also, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so you know when we put out a new one. Hit the thumbs up or thumbs down, and a comment if you would, please, because I do like reading the comments. My girl thinks I'm crazy, but that's not that far from the truth. So, it's about time that they are held accountable. You have second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. One carries a life sentence and the other carries a 15-year sentence. I cannot believe the people who say that it's wrong to charge the officer with murder. It just absolutely boggles my mind, and we wonder why we have such a problem in America. The police officers, the sovereign citizens, have to follow the same laws we do. And if you take a life, then you have to pay for that life. That's just the way it is. I don't care if you're a police officer or just someone on the street. Because I know if I killed somebody, that wouldn't even be a question of going to jail or going to prison. So because they're sovereign citizens. I keep forgetting that. I don't know why. Anyhow, it's a real travesty. You got George Floyd, Rodney King. I mean, we can go on with the list forever. If you think that the police should not be held accountable, then you're sadly mistaken, and you're a lemming. And I don't know what to tell you. You don't live in reality. The reality is that they are human. The reality is that we have hired them to do a job, and the reality is they have to do that job within the confines of the law, just like every other citizen of the United States. So enough of my rambling. Go over to Always Fellow Popo, subscribe to him, tell him I sent you over there. Go ahead and subscribe to me, and I do appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Ciao.